Welcome to Moxie Uncut. I'm your host, Jenny Nuccio, social entrepreneur, designer, innovator, and founder of Amani Collective. This season is all about reset. Real stories, the ones that don't make it into the captions. Failure, pivots, burnouts, heartbreaks, and the quiet courage to just begin again. Each week, I sit down with entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers that are building with purpose. We talk about the resets that shaped them, the lessons that they learned the hard way, and the strength that found them on the other side. If you're in a season of rebuilding or redesigning, you're not alone. You're right where you need to be. So let's dig in. Welcome to Moxie Uncut, the reset season. This season is all about the rebuild, the pivot, the restructuring, and the internal shifts that change how you lead, how you build, and sometimes even who you are. Reset is not failure, it is refinement, and it's recalibration, and it's rebuilding with wisdom. And here we talk about real stories. We talk about the pressures and the lessons and the resilience and strength that we learned along the way. And today I'm so excited to have Nikole here.
Hi.
Yes. So welcome. Before people get to know you, and we do an intro, I like to do the quick cut. So we're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I think I already know these answers, but I'm excited to see. Okay, so they're just one answers. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Morning person or night builder?
Oh, morning.
Big vision or detailed executor?
Both.
Yeah, it's
I'm
okay
to both. Yeah.
I have people who have mixed
both. Yeah.
both. Mm-hmm. What's one word people use to describe you?
Oh, that's a hard one, actually.
Quick fire.
Oh gosh. Depends who it is. I hear mama a lot because I'm a mom. That's probably what I hear the most. Okay.
Mama. What's one small habit that keeps you grounded?
Devotions, always.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So Nikole, I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you.
Also behind the scenes, she has been very patient. We've been setting this whole set up. You guys don't get to see what happens behind the scenes of podcasts, but thank you for your patience. And I just want you to introduce yourself to our audience. So for those listening for the first time, and have you been on Moxie before?
No. No, it's my first time.
Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Well, welcome. Okay, so what I like to ask is we wear a lot of hats, so you can give, I guess, your CV or bio, but I really ask the question what you're best known for and however you want to answer that and kind of give all different perspectives of who you are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. what am I best known for? It's hard because maybe sometimes what I'm best known for is not always how I'd introduce myself first, because I think more than anything, I am a follower of Jesus. That's like number one. I am a wife to my wonderful husband. I am a mom to my 4 amazing children. But I think probably what I'm most known for is being a co-founder of our NGO that is called Tembea na Rehema. And within that NGO, I run a lot of the maternal child health programs. So I'm a big fan of moms and babies. And so if that's what people often will come to me as the one who knows about birth and pregnancy and breastfeeding and all of those types of fun things. So that's probably what I'm best known for.
Yes, you're never in a room with Nikole without something with breastfeeding, babies coming up.
Yes,
for sure.
I love it. I love all of it. Yes, because it's a big part of my life. And it's a big part of most women's lives. If you're a mother, you've experienced a lot of that. And I love it. Mm-hmm.
Well, before we dig into even how you got started, and because I'm sure there was a shift in season to even getting here to Kenya and what that looks like. But I want to start with the definition. I find that depending on who you are and your perspective, definitions change, even in the seasons you might be in. So to you right now, what does reset mean to you?
You know, if we're to talk about like this season that I'm in right now, I think reset would probably be more of like my own state of my own heart and mind. because I think, like you and like you and I talk about, we wear a lot of hats. We have a lot of things we're juggling. We do a lot of things. I'm also a student. You're a professor. There's like, we have this whole other dynamic in our lives. And it's not bad stuff, but it can be a lot, right? When you add all these hats on top, sometimes it seems very noble, and it is, but it also is a lot. And I have to often reset my mind or heart, or at least realign with, who am I in the beginning? If you take all of that away, if you take away all those hats, who am I? I'm Nikole. I am loved by God. I am a precious daughter of the Lord. Like, you have to remember who you are first, and why do you do what you do, and where does your strength truly come from? Am I doing this in my own strength? Am I building my own kingdom? And so I think for now, it's in this season of a lot of busy and a lot of things, it's reminding myself, where does my strength come from? Why, like the fact that I'm loved beyond measure no matter what I do, that I'm working for a kingdom that is bigger than myself, that it's not me building my empire, I'm working for God. And that helps me kind of get through all the extra things, or else I burn out and I get anxious and tired, and that's no good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're very similar in the fact that it's always funny, and I'm sure you get this a lot when you introduce yourself and then you're like, oh, and I also do this, and I'm sometimes even embarrassed when I'm like, oh, and I like wear this other hat or do this, just because people are like, oh my goodness, like what? But in that, when was there ever a shift? Because this happened in my life, ever a shift where you'd mentioned just something now of like doing things not for your own like accolades or glory. I'm rephrasing it a little bit, but where you shifted, where you had to ask that, because even stepping back into a program, right? Being a student again, what were some of the conversations that you had for yourself before you shifted into that new chapter?
Yeah. I think I always come back to this idea of like, what is my identity truly? And I think you were like me. We both ended up in Africa quite early in our lives, right? Like, I was 17 and I think you were quite young.
Yes.
And often when you're this young and this like life in Africa is a part of your life, it can easily become your identity. And then you're known as the girl who's trying to change Africa. You're doing all these great things. You're doing noble work. But that's not our identity, right? Because then you have children, you get married, and you realize your identity is truly in the Lord. It doesn't matter really where you are, what you're doing. And so I think that's always where I go back to. And it's humbling to know that God might ask me to pick up and leave it all now and do something totally different. And I have to be okay with that. If that's what he's asking me to do. Did that answer your question? I kind of almost forget your question.
No, that was great. I was saying like the conversations that are in your head, like for instance, I remember before I started my doctorate, I had to ask myself, like, is this for like accolades or attention from other people, or do I actually, like, what's the intention for me getting this, and is it going to be turned to being able to bring glory to God? Like, what is that question that I'm having in that inner dialogue? Because it was probably some of the worst years of my life, like, because it was so hard. And even the coach that my coach was like, you literally like look exhausted. This is not something you're excited about. But I knew the end goal. It was like, nope, I know that it's going to get me to a place where then I can be a voice in different spaces, and that's the goal. But before, when I look back at, like, we can look at how our childhood has shaped us, and I had to work a lot of just like breaking these barriers of like, you know, not doing it for the sake of like, oh, parent approval or like that, the approval. So just wondering, and it doesn't even have to be about the program you just entered, but in different seasons where you're making a decision, or even we'll get into your organization too, you're like starting something new. What are some of the inner dialogues that you're having with yourself as you're shifting? Because I think there's also two emotions we can go through, where it's like excitement, but it's also overwhelm and a sense of like, well, this is big, and we see the big vision, and you know, we're risky in a sense of, well, okay, we'll take the step to go forward, but it's still, there's a lot happening internally.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm making a big decision, I am obviously praying about it. Am I in obedience with God? And it's specifically like I'm just started my master's this year. I really wanted to do it last year. Like I really wanted to go do it, but I very, very, very strongly felt like this was not the year. And I just obeyed it. And I understood later on why. So obedience is a big piece. I also am a really big believer in God has put passions, desires, skills, talents in your life for a reason. And so if I'm going to do something, I have to love it. Yeah. I love school. I love what I'm studying. Okay, I don't love everything about school. Please, like, I don't love it, everything, but I love learning what I'm learning.
Yeah.
I love the programs that I run. I love the work that I do. Is it easy all the time? No. But it has to be something that I also love and I'm passionate about, or else again, I'm going to burn out of it. And I truly think that God puts those things in us for a reason, for us to pursue. That's part of the way he created us and for us to build his kingdom
Yeah. No, I love that. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go back to the start of, so you came obviously to Kenya young.
Yeah.
And then, you got married and we've had kids. We both have kids.
We have 7 between the two of us.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that is true.
We're populating the earth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in all of that, what is something just even right now, we'll start current, that you are building right now that you're just really excited about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, like I said, I love moms and babies. And that was that was kind of a big pivot in my life when I had my first daughter. I remember her birth. And I remember after her birth, just having this intense sense that I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of moms and babies. I just didn't know how. And I knew it was going to be a part of my life, and I just didn't know how. And through the years, I've gone through different programs and trainings and public health and maternal child health to get where I am now. And we run a small community center. And when I stepped onto the property, we've had it for 4 years now. When I stepped onto the property, I instantly had this vision. I think you and I are also we're kind of visionaries to a degree. I am not a design person. I'm more of a medical person. But I walked into this place and I said, okay, I see moms coming in, pregnant women. I see ultrasounds being done. I see women laboring. That's where my vision was. So I ultimately wanted this place to be a birth center where women could come and deliver with dignity and have positive experiences and be healthy and survive, because even that's not a given here in Kenya. And so last year we actually started moving towards building it. We got the funds, we got everything, and we renovated it. I picked colors, we built pharmacies, all this type of stuff. And then we finally had the Ministry of Health come and look at it and say, oh, this can't be a birth center. And I went, oh. And that's just due to their own kind of regulations of what needs to be there and according to public health and kind of stuff. And so we had to kind of pivot and go, okay, that wasn't my vision. That wasn't where we were going with this. And slowly through just sort of prayer and a lot of consultation with our community and our staff, we decided to shift it into an outpatient center, meaning we can treat, diagnose, lab, pharmacy, that kind of stuff for the whole community. And so that's where we are right now and what we're getting really excited for. And there's going to be a big women's health, maternal health sort of aspect to it. I'm not giving up my dreams or my vision right now, but we're in the thick of it. We're building, the lab today is being built, and we are getting really close to actually opening it to the community in the next, hopefully, few weeks to month. Yeah. That's what I'm excited about.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Because I just know even in the last year, just the resiliency of just the waiting game of paperwork and government policy. And it's just, it will crush dreams for those people who won't push forward. So it's exciting to have where you're at now and see where it's going to go.
Yeah.
When you look back, and we can even go to the beginning, but when you look back in the journey of just building where you are right now, specifically with the clinic and just also what your family as a whole, if you want to bring in anything in that aspect, what are some moments, and if you have a story, but some moments that have made you who you are today? I mean, you could tell a lot of stories, but have made you stronger, and have really solidified your values. Obviously, we know faith and being followers of Christ is like strong values, but other values like integrity or honesty, like what are some of those as well you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kenya constantly teaches you integrity and honesty, and a big one of that has been this last year of working through the registrations of going through all the ministries, because you can move your way through that in many ways, and we just from the beginning said, no, we're going to stand our grounds and do it properly and follow the right paths and keep our heads high. And amazingly, that once we did get sort of pivot towards this outpatient, we started finding more and more favor amongst people, and we got more and more funding, interestingly. But we are now at a space where the government is really working with us well, and we have such favor with people. And I think a lot of that is the way we've interacted and the way we've held our values and integrity. Throughout this journey. If I think back longer, there's, again, it's all of that kind of standing up for what you believe in and having that honesty and integrity. But even against sort of, I think a lot about in maternal and child health care, and how a lot of cultures, some of the things that happen are the norm, and yet they're not. Women should not be beaten in childbirth, and babies should survive.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we've held on as an organization. It's not just me, it's my husband, my staff, that these are things that should be happening, and we're going to fight for them. We're going to fight for life, because, those children, we are created in the womb, and we're created for a purpose. Mm-hmm. And I value that so much. I'm going to fight to make sure that babies are surviving, that mothers are healthy, even in a culture or a system that maybe doesn't value it, or it's very hard to find. And I think that's what kind of keeps us going, is that we value life and humans. And yeah.
I was chatting with someone the other day about just this idea of waking up and feeling on fire on purpose for what you do. And I love listening to you and my friends who are like doing exactly what, they're on fire and what God has created them to do. Because I think in other aspects of life, when there isn't that like oomph that gets us up in the morning, of it can feel very lonely, isolated, or confusing. And so I know we have listeners potentially in this space who maybe have started something and it just feels like it's not, we can define failure in many different ways, but maybe it's taken a different, again, shift, pivot, and they need to reset. What is something, I normally bring this at the end, but I think this is a really good space. So what is some advice you would give people in that moment of what they can do when they feel like they feel a little stuck in their spot right now, where they know they want to reset? Maybe they have some dreams, maybe they have some vision, or maybe something has just shifted and it needs to pivot as well.
Yeah. I think from my journey, like there's been a lot of waiting. Mm-hmm. And I think we have to remember that we, number one, can't waste the waiting. That came up a while back. And I think there is purpose in waiting. Mm-hmm. And what are we doing in that waiting? And waiting doesn't mean that something is closed, doesn't mean it's not going to happen. My first daughter, my firstborn child, is almost 12. And that's 12 years ago is when I kind of felt this like really strong urge to help moms and babies. And I went to school pretty quickly after that. But then I waited for years for doors to be open to be doing the work that I'm doing. Like I sat for probably 4 or 5 years before the doors actually opened for us to create a center and to have the impact that we're having. And I think in those years, I was just patient and faithful in what was in front of me, right? And at that season was honestly being a wife. I supported my husband in a lot of the things he was doing. I also have more children, so I was raising more of them, continuing to learn and just be patient on what kind of the timing that God had for it. Because we want it sometimes, especially when we get excited about something, we want it to happen like that, or we think it might. And often it doesn't. Sometimes it does take patience and waiting, and just to know that it might be, it's not bad. We're not doing something wrong. We're not going backwards. It's just maybe, in the right timing.
When you look back, are there doors that were like closed, like that you're like, man, I'm grateful those doors closed?
Yeah. I mean, there's been many of them. We actually moved to the other side of the country for a year and learned a lot about medical care. And we thought we'd be there longer, and we weren't. And it became very clear that we were supposed to be back in Mombasa. So that door closed really fast, being up there. But the season, man, I learned so much up there. And then again, as we shifted back to Mombasa, the doors like flung wide open for us to do the work that we do now. And it's just like booming than it was before. So definitely.
Yeah, I was talking about this idea of stewardship. It's actually one of our words this year. And so of how we can steward well, but I also think there's a time where we're ready to steward things, and not just, I mean, yes, financially too, like we're talking about being ready to take on, finances to be able to grow and scale and things. But then on the other side, how we steward time, how we steward relationships, how we steward even our priorities of our life. And I was, just reflecting with our team, and I was like, wow, baby Jenny and her leadership. And I'm just like, so glad you guys are patient and whatnot. And so I want to bring that to you. What does that mean to you when you're looking at now and you're seeing those doors open, and you're seeing even the opportunities of partnerships, and you've waited for that so long, you've been prayerful, you've been intentional. How does that look like for you to steward that in a way that, yes, brings glory to God and also serves your community?
Yeah, I think you mentioned a few things there. Like, I'm learning so much more that partnerships, building into the people that I have around me is really what's going to make us thrive. I can't do it all. I might have the vision, I might have the dreams, but I can't build this on my own. Like I really can't, and nor do I have the skills and the resources to do that on my own. And so for me right now, I'm loving watching partnerships come into play. I'm loving watching my staff grow into these incredible people and leaders. And also kind of figuring out where my role is, like, what are my true gifts? What do I really need to be doing? What do I not need to be doing? And again, it all kind of comes down to this, like, I'm not building my own kingdom here. This is a kingdom greater than me, and allowing God to build it the way that he sees fit. And when you allow him to do it, like, he's going to do a good job with his stuff and his work. And it's been really fun to watch other people thrive, or this organization grow with other people, not necessarily of my own doing.
Yeah. I love collaboration. It's like, it's fun to see people come together. And I just find it's this like beautiful representation of truly like encouraging one another, like lifting one another up, and not being, I think it takes a place though. I think it takes a place for the individual has to be mature enough to sit and be able to collaborate, because you shouldn't be threatened by each other. You shouldn't be, and you feel that. And I've seen that. And I even went through that in my early 20s of being like feeling the jealousy or feeling threatened by other people. And so I think there's a lot of growth that you have to do as a leader and individual. There's a lot of growth you have to do in your faith, but you don't have to have like an organization or a business that's been around for forever to start to do collaboration and partnerships. And if I was going to give advice to anybody starting up something, it's like, find the right people that are going to be in your corner and cheer you on, because that propels you forward,
Yeah, for sure. I think we're just kind of learning that now, of how powerful it is to work together with people.
Yeah.
Because we're all amazing and we were all given different gifts, and we simply can't do it all.
Yeah.
Or else we'll just burn to the ground, each one of us, if we try to do it all our own.
Yeah. Okay, I want to, as we come to our end of our time, I want to talk about motherhood really quick. Something that I love to see in our women, how they shift is how their kids are viewing them and just their self-efficacy and their confidence and whatnot. And so in your journey as a mother and building also your organization, what are some conversations, maybe bring us into the house conversations you're having with your girls where in building their character or even how they get to see you? Like, do you have moments that you can share? Because I say this because as I think there's this guilt we have of mothers and wanting to pursue the purpose that God has for us and yet be there and be good. And then we lose our patience and we're tired and there's all the dynamics. But there's also this sweet spot of our girls getting to see us do something that's really special. And so I'm just curious how you have those conversations with them, or again, giving advice to the mamas out there of maybe even some practical advice of prioritization or how you slow down to make sure you're present with them and you can shelf that to the side in moments.
Yeah. I actually was reading something the other day, some research that was talking about how kids don't really need us around all the time. But what they do need is us like focused on them for a small chunk of time. That means when we're home, an hour of no phones, communicating, like focus on them is really what they need. And I feel a little less guilt when I hear that because I am also very busy. And I try my best to show up for my kids, and thankfully my lifestyle allows that. Like I can make space for them. It's very interesting because our life at home is really normal, and my kids have grown up in the communities that we work in. And so for them, it's also really kind of normal. Like they don't walk into these communities and are shocked by what they see. Yeah. Because it's also my husband is from these communities. So we are exposed, my kids are exposed to a lot. Mm-hmm. I think more than anything, what I've always trying to encourage my kids, because my daughters in particular have been like, we love you, Mom, but we don't want to do this. And I'm like, It's okay. If you want to go somewhere else and do different work, that's okay. What I really want for you is that my ultimate desire is for them to know God and to follow his plans for their life. And if that means you move back to Canada and you become, a high profile lawyer or a businesswoman and do whatever, that's great. Yeah. This is my life, and this is what I felt like God has called me into, and you guys have something different too. And I value that. I want them to do the path that they feel they're called upon, not necessarily what mommy and daddy are doing. Mm-hmm. I do want them to be compassionate and kind and empathetic. And I think by watching us, they are getting that to a degree, and more ways that I understand. Even just recently, my daughter had a school project where she had to do a community project, and she actually chose to come to our center, and she gathered her friends from school and they did a little project, and it was on her own doing and her own thing. And I went, okay, she's getting it to more than I think she is. But I also have to just sort of recognize that they're their own people. God created them with their own purposes. I'm not going to push all of my, I can go on and on about, the health inequities of people and moms and babies, but that may not be what they are called into. And that's okay. They're still kids. They need room to grow. But it was interesting the other day, my husband actually stepped up and said to my kids, "Did you know your mom is really smart?" And it was really cute because like I am in school and I do fairly well in school. Like I am very smart. I am a top student. Like, and I don't say that with pride. I literally am, right? I'm on dean's lists and that kind of stuff. But my kids don't know that. And my son and my husband the other day said, "Did you know your mom is really smart? Like she does really well in school." And I thought that was really just like, yeah, I do. And I should tell them that. It was really sweet of my husband to step up and tell them that because they don't know.
I think I had a big aha too when my kids realized I taught for the first time just a couple months ago. Right. I think I told you this, and I was like, "Guys, no, I've been teaching for like 6 years, and I teach adults, and I do this when you're sleeping." And but it's our spouses. I think the common factor when I see
not always, but when I see very like visionary women, they have a spouse who's most likely very supportive.
Very, yeah.
Especially if they have multiple children. And I love that I love that you share that story, because I think we don't do it enough for ourselves. So having someone who, it's not that we need it,
No.
but having someone who can advocate and be like, yeah, like she's smart, she's cool, she like does this. You're like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
So kudos to him.
Right.
Pat on the back.
Yes.
Nikole, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's been a joy to build Moxie and like get to hear stories. And sometimes I forget that some of my closest friends, I'm like, man, I know really cool people. And I'm so excited that you're finally in this chair and people get to hear that story. And so before we sign off, though, I do want you to share where people can find out about your organization, so where they can go and just hear more or potentially get involved.
Sure. We are called the Tembea na Rehema Foundation in Mombasa. And we do have a website and such, and we are on social media. But if you are in Mombasa, please come and visit. We love visitors. You're always welcome to come in and have a cup of tea. And we always tell the women who walk through our gates, like, you're part of our family. And that's how we want you to feel, that when you walk into our space, you are precious, honored, and loved. That's on our walls. So you are welcome to always come visit. But we are online if you want to check out more of what we do and how to get involved if you want.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We'll make sure all of that is in the show notes for you guys. So this is Moxie Uncut, the reset season, refining, realigning, and rebuilding. And as always, friends, Moxie on.
Woo! Thanks for being here with me on Moxie Uncut. If something stayed with you, please pass it on. These stories are meant to be shared. And if you're in a season of rebuilding or becoming, then just keep going. I'll see you here next week.